Okay, I guess we're up and running. I'll get the pictures out of the way. All right, questions. This is pretty much up to your direction now.
Can I ask a really quick, outside of the material question?
Of course.
We don't have to turn in the folder again on Wednesday, do we?
No, that is correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yep, thanks for asking.
I had a question on making networks, switch networks.
Okay.
And it was a problem that was in the book, and I understand how to do it, but I guess I didn't understand why. It would be, I know it's problem 15, but
Okay. 3.7, number 15.
let me find the page.
Yeah, I think I've got it. It's on page. Oh, not quite. It's on page 161. Okay, 3.7, number 15. I'm going to clear a page here. So we're supposed to draw a pair of switching networks that indicate that this, I'm not sure they will indicate their equivalent, but at least we can draw the pair. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I agree. Oh, okay. That was your whole question?
My question, because I understand how to draw it, but I mean, and just P is, with the or statement, it could be one or the other, but how would that be equivalent if it's the one, not the other?
Yeah, let's see. So you're supposed to draw more. Okay, to be honest, that's not a good question. Because what you would have to do is first take the network that they gave you, the logic statement they gave you, and you'd have to find another logic statement that was equivalent to it. And we didn't, when that was in, I think that was in section 3.6. Well, it was in this section, but we never got to that. So sorry, but this question, this is not going to happen.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I don't blame you for not understanding. I shouldn't have assigned this one. Sorry. But yeah, all I expect you to know is how to make the drawing.
Okay, then I got that.
Yep. Yeah. Somebody asked about that one of our other times, and yeah, that would, let me just say, did not cover. So obviously it won't be on the exam. Questions, guys?
This is Michelle. I want to go back to chapter 2, the practice test, and kind of go over an element or not an element, number 5. It's on page 101.
Oh, on the practice test. Gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, just a sec. 101.
Mm-hmm. Page 101, number 5.
Yeah.
You know, A through D, and it has the different, you know, A.
Yep.
So I know we talked about it in class before, but just a refresher.
So you're supposed to fill in the blanks with either this or this. And Any particular part of number 5?
A.
Okay, let's start with A. So we're supposed to do A union B. And that is equal to the set of all X such that X something A or X something B. All right. So the first thing you notice is that we've already translated this into this. So you don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And when we say A, what do we mean? We mean everything in set A. So this one has to be, is an element. I know A is so easy. And then in B, we mean everything in B. And so, I mean, that's it. B is, that's it for part A. Okay, so we better go on to part B.
Yeah, let's do part B.
Meant to change colors there. Okay, part B, we have A intersect B complement. And that's equal to, again, all X such that X something A and X something B. Okay, so again, we have already done part of this for you, that this was translated into and you guys remember those, right? That union goes to or, intersection goes to and. All right, so in the first part, we want everything in A. And what does this tell you? What does B complement say?
Outside of A? Or
Yeah, outside of B.
B.
So basically, that little apostrophe gets translated then as not an element. Question so far? Michelle?
Okay. Can we do
No.
C then?
Yep, I just wanted to see if you're okay with B.
Yep,
All right.
that makes sense.
A complement is equal to all X such that X something universal set and X something A. Okay, now we got to do some work here. Because, you know, the and over here kind of implies an intersection, but I don't see any intersection over here on the left. But if you think about, let's see, I'm going to make a drawing, but I'm going to go down a little. I guess I'll just make the drawing right here. So here's a drawing. So what does a complement mean? It's where, see, we got to show two sets that overlap. That you know what a complement is. It's this, right?
Okay.
I mean, you know that, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So what two sets is that overlapping? Well, isn't it? It's where U overlaps everything outside of A. So it's in U and it's not in A. So this was the hard part right here. But if you think about it, I mean, if we give you any set, isn't it always going to be in the universal set?
All right.
So I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have made such a big deal, but do you see how everything outside of A overlaps the universal set where the angled lines are? So that would be the answer to part C.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what you want to do, we can do D also.
Okay.
Let me get rid of this. Now I gotta grab that and wipe it out. Okay, let's do part D. So D says, A, remove B. This one's a harder one again. All X such that X something A and X something, watch out for this one. If you don't see this, you probably would get it wrong. Do you see there's a complement on that B?
Mhm.
Okay. So now, again, I'm going to make a drawing. So everybody, you all, where is A minus B? Isn't it right in here? Right, everybody? Isn't that A? So you start with the A circle being filled up and then you remove the B. Isn't that what would be left?
Okay.
You guys don't sound real convinced. Don't you remember what? Okay, here, let me undo the red if I can. I will make an attempt at it. Let me try that explanation one more time. Even though I can't see your faces, I can see you all being like polite, but like, okay. So
Would that still work if they didn't intersect? If you just had two intersecting?
well, yeah, you mean will this D statement will work, but yeah, then the drawing, you're right, the drawing could start off with B being separate. But let's just take this case first. Okay, A. We're starting with A here, right? So that should be everything in A. So we would start by everything in A is shaded in. That's how you start. And then what do? You remove the B. So I don't know if I can get my eraser small enough, but that means you would take this away, right?
Okay.
Is everybody convinced of that?
Yep.
Okay, good. So that's A minus B. Now, another way to look at it is it's where A intersects everything outside of B, but outside of B looks like this. Whoop, sorry. That isn't this what outside of B looks like? See, if this was a plain gear, then we would have written A is not an element of B. But this is like saying A is in outside of B. That's a little bit like double talk. It's in all the parts outside of B. Here, let me, boy, this is a little bit hard not having you guys with me, but let me try it one more time. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the D up above and I'm going to attempt to show you how what we've written works. Okay, so we have the universal set, we have A, we have B. Okay, the first part says everything in A. Let me shade that in red. Okay, part two, where that overlaps or is ended with everything outside of B. Everything outside of B. And that's overlap, right? That's intersection. So tell me, where are the green and red shadings together? Do you see
Outside
that
of.
they are the same answer that we have over here?
Okay.
So I don't know. That's so honestly, the tricky part on that one was this B complement, everything in B complement, everything in the outside of B. Watch out for that one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So that was number 5 on page 10 back in chapter 3. Yeah, and thank you for, you certainly can pick anything you want, including old practice tests or old ascents, anything like that is fine.
Hi, this is Jessica. Do you think we could go over number 15 on chapter 2 practice test?
Yes, 15 on practice 2, chapter 2. We got some feedback coming from somebody. Okay, it's a little bit out of focus, but here it is. So, in the beginning of the problem, it says, let the number of elements in set A be 27. Let the number of elements in set B be 28. We've got some sound problems here. I'm going to have to do some muting. I apologize. Who? That was Jessica. Okay.
I meant number 15 on the practice test in the book.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong place. Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Okay, number 15. Okay, I don't have time to copy it, so here we go. U has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A 1, 3, 5, 7. B 2, 4, 6, 8. C 1, 4, 5, 8. Okay, part A says, what's the number of elements in A union C? So the first thing I would do, Jessica, is we have to find what is A union C. So that's A and C cemented together. What do we get? Does that look right, Jessica?
Yes.
Okay. Now the question is, do you remember what this means, Jessica, that N out there?
Yes, the number of elements.
So now what do you think? Is the number of elements, is that equal to 6 or is it not equal to 6?
It is equal to 6.
That's the answer to part A.
Okay.
Okay, part B. Number of elements in B intersect C. So we got to first do this. What is B intersect C? So what What's in common between those?
4 and 8.
And they're saying, is that equal to or not equal to 3?
Not equal.
That is correct. And the way I see it, that's number 15. Okay. Thanks for the question, Jessica. What's next? I should write this down, that this is
But nice.
number 15.
It's
I'm going to say page 102. Okay, go ahead.
It's Jessica again. The practice test for 3.
Okay.
Let me there. Hold on. I'd like to go over the negations of statements, like making statements a negation. So number 4.
Okay. Number 4. So this is on the practice test?
Yes. Oh, because, yeah, it's on the practice test.
Okay, number 4A. I will go to the beach, or I will go to the. No, we got all kinds of microphone. You may have to mute yourself until you speak, Jessica. Okay. Actually, I can't even find you. I'm just trying to do some muting so we don't have this sound problem. Okay, so 170, number 4 on page 175. So part A says, I will go to the beach or go to the movies. I would write that this way. I will go to the beach. Let's codify that. Or I will go to the movies. So there's how I code it. Now the question is, how does one do this? How do you negate that? And you remember that's a De Morgan's law. That's equal to negate B, negate M, and then you have to reverse this. So now that I know that, Jessica, now we can do it. What's the negation? I will not go to the beach, and I will not go to the movies. So you got that, Jessica? Did that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you. Let's do part B. So part B, I will stay in my room. I guess I got to make a line, otherwise we're going to, I will, so this is part B. I will stay in my room and do my homework. So that's how I'd code it. What's the negation of that? So again, you're doing this. So again, that's De Morgan, not S, not H, and then this has to be flipped upside down. So translate that back into words now. I will not stay in my room, or I won't do my homework. Okay, that would be part B. Part C. Pluto, well, that one, do we really need to write that one out? What's the negation of Pluto is not a planet? Pluto is a planet. So that one we don't have to do anything fancy with. So that's how they wanted you to think of number 4 on the practice test. So I would encourage you to maybe cut them using letters and make sure you use the correct symbols. And then, I don't know, especially with De Morgan's law, you can then negate it and then translate it back. If you try doing it right away with words, that just does not work real well. So I would encourage you to like code it, negate it, translate back. Thanks for all the good questions so far. What would you like to look at next?
On the last exam, can we do number 11?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So I'm going to guess that's on page 2. Let's see. Here comes page 2. Nope, it's on page 3. Oh, yes. Okay. So this is that one that asked you to find all the implications. So, most important thing, can all of you do this now? Can all of you tell me what an implication is? I mean, I don't expect you to all tell me right now because it could get a little messy, but it's what?
Tautology of an if-then statement.
Yeah, that turns out to be a tautology, right? Okay, so you look at this and you go, well, wait a minute. I don't see any if-then statements up there. You're right, there aren't. So you have to create them. But I have given you these 5 statements here called B, D, and E. So what you got to do is find all the ways you can if-then those. So we've got, I did it, I said, let's do all the ones that start with A. So I don't know, awfully tiny, but here's where I put if A then B, then if A then C, A then D, A then E, and that took care of all the ones that begin with A. Then, all right, all the ones that begin with B. If B then A, B then C, B then D, B then E. Okay, how about the ones that begin with C? If and so forth. Got it? And I left you enough columns you could do with all 5. And then you had to do the if-then truth table. So in this first one here, if A then B. So I'm looking right here now. If A then B. I'm looking up in the table. When is that false? Only when the first is true and the second is false. So do you see how I got a false right away? Don't bother with the rest because it can't be a tautology. Okay, that's out. Let's try the next one. If A, then C. So now you're looking for your if here and your then here. And again, you know what? I come up with a false in the second row, so that didn't work. Anyway, you just keep hacking them out and see if any of them come out to a tautology. And this one does right here. And so does this one. 2 of them turned out to be that. So you see I've marked them up here. B implies D and E implies C. Why did I use that new symbol implication? Because the if-then statement turned out to be a tautology. So does that do it for you?
Yep, that was helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
No problem.
We had a lot of, if there was a problem we struggled with as a class, that was one of the big ones. So, yep. And I don't know if I could ask that again, but And maybe if I asked it on the exam, I wouldn't have so many. I wouldn't have 5 statements. What did the one in the book have? I think they had 3, didn't they? Yeah. On page 176 is their version of this. It's number 18, and their table over there has just A, B, and C. So they gave you 3 statements, so it wouldn't have taken up so many columns. Yeah, so anyway. Thanks again for the good questions. What would you like to look at next?
You said that it was another question in a book like this.
Okay, a question in the book like what?
Like number 11.
Yeah, there is a question book like that. It's on page 176. It's number 18.
Okay, thank you.
You know, it was on the practice test for chapter 3. Yeah. And we even talked about it before the test, so it shouldn't have been a surprise. But somehow looking at it the day we did when we studied it didn't click. So I'm hoping now it's clicking a little bit better.
Can we look at number 14 again on the chapter 2 test? I know we went over that, but you said that had one incorrect answer previously, so.
Okay, number 14, chapter 2 test. Let's see if I have the right page here. Nope, coming up. Yeah, I had this, you know, I mean, I think there was only one person who put this answer down, and I marked it correct, and I shouldn't have. Okay, but had it had the parentheses with the blue stuff, the parentheses with the negation, the complement symbol, then all 3 of those answers would be correct. So I think, by the way, the reason I had to shade this in is somehow the shading didn't scan. So how can it says give 2 different statements for the shaded region below. I think, isn't the obvious one everything outside of A, and therefore, I mean, I hope I'm not being presumptive there, but doesn't that one jump to everybody's mind pretty quickly? I'm pretty sure it does. I hope so. And then the next one is also really kind of easy. Can't you just start with the universal set and just take A away? And wouldn't you same thing? So, you know, anytime you have a complement, can't you always say universal, take that away? So kind of a little pattern there. If I ever did ask you for 2 different ways to do a complement again, well, you got 2 automatic ones there. I think they're pretty automatic. Now this last one says, well, yeah, I don't know if we want to go through that, but there's probably somewhere around 10,000 ways to say this one correctly, but the rest of them might take 10, 15 minutes to figure out, and I'm not sure that's worthwhile. I mean, I wouldn't ask you for more than 2. So Susan, had this answer had the parentheses complement on it, then it would have been correct. And I doubt if any of you would have picked it. But there are other ways this could be written.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, I'll tell you what, Susan, if you'd like, I can give you yet another way this answer could have been written. Maybe this process will help a little bit. I'll do that up higher here with green. All right, here, see if you can picture this. I'm going to say, let's start with this. Can all of you picture where it is on the Venn diagram? Can all of you see? So start with B and take away A. Wouldn't that be this? Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay, now all I got to do is add the outside of A union B, right? So all I have to do is unite that with kind of what? The outside of the MasterCard symbol? You follow that? So take the green part that I've shaded, that's this part, and just join it to the outside of the MasterCard symbol. And isn't this the outside of the MasterCard symbol? A union B is the MasterCard symbol, complement. And if I just tack that on, don't I have it? So here, Susan, here's a fourth correct answer. But again, I really don't expect you guys, I mean, all I'm trying to say is there's all kinds of ways to come up with that shade, that blue shaded area there. And the fact that you can do it in more than one way tells me that you are getting these operations and you're getting a little bit better at how to state that in more than one way.
I just have trouble sometimes because this was the same thing you had on a previous problem we did, is that when you put down B minus A, it's always assuming that there's an intersection.
Well, here there's no assumption because I drew it that way. That was given.
Right.
So you're right. That other one, we could do the problem over with them not intersecting. You're right. But here, there's no assumption. I'm showing you that the two sets do intersect. So though you don't have to imagine that they could miss a problem.
But say you just gave us the equation or the statement and told us to draw that.
Yeah,
So-
then there would be more than one answer, and I'm not likely to ask you to do that because I don't really want that. That's good that you can see that there's more than one way, but that really doesn't fit with any of the things we asked you to do in the assignments. So I wouldn't go that way.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's a good question, Susan. And Marco, was that your question in the beginning, or whose was that?
It wasn't mine.
Okay, it sounded like, oh well, whatever, doesn't matter. It's a good question, thank you. What's next?
Can we go over number 8?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Number 3? And
Yeah, you bet.
number 8?
Go ahead.
Number 8?
On the test? Elliot, was that number 8 on the test?
Practice.
Practice test, chapter 3? Okay, number 8. Got it. Yeah, your audio is broken up, so I'm not sure I got everything, Elliot. Okay, number 8, practice test, chapter 3, I believe is what he's asking.
The book version.
Yeah. So, Elliot, I'm going to put the problem down. You tell me if it's not the wrong one. I mean, if it's not the right one. Okay. So, I believe this is number 8 on page 175.
You got it. Thank you.
You're right. And here's what we want to do. P or Q ended with not P or not Q. And we're supposed to make a truth table for that. I got to just see if I copied that right. I should put parentheses here. I believe that is correct. Okay, now I'm going to just move that over a little bit. Okay, let's, so good news, we still only need what, 4 rows, right, Elliot? So 2 letters. Okay. First set of parentheses, P or Q. So the or rule is what? False only when they're both false. Okay. Elliot, I think I'm going to put the knots right underneath the letters here. So let's put the not P because, you know, there is, and the not P would just be the opposite. So that would be false, false, true, true. And not Q would be false, true, false, true. And again, we want to do an or. So only false when both are false. False, true, true, true. So now this answer, along with this answer, we need to and them. So I'm going to put that answer right here, and then that should be our final result, okay? So we're going to take those 2 asterisk columns, and now we're using the and rule, and the and rule is only true when both are true. All right, true, false. They're not both true. True, true. They are both true. True, true. They are both true. False, true. They are not both true. Final answer, FTTF. Problem complete.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Yeah, thanks for the, again, thanks for the question. We still have some time, so let them keep sending them over, guys.
Okay, this is Michelle. Can we go back to chapter 2 test, number 12?
You bet. Now let's see if I guess the right page this time.
It's the actual test we took on chapter 2.
Yeah, that should be this one down here on the bottom.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. So there's a part A and a part B. All right. The drawings I made so I can use those. By the way, this says over here in the corner, it got cut off. That's supposed to say 49 down there in the corner. All right. So it says, let the number of elements in set D be 42, and let the number in set F be 21. And then it says, find the number in the union if they intersect in nothing. For part A, they intersect in nothing. So you see how in part A, and Susan, it kind of relates to your questions. Here I actually recognize in two parts of the problem that there are different states. So in the first one, yeah, D and F miss each other, and that's what this says. Okay, so I've drawn them so they miss. So there's 42 in D, there's 21 in F. What happens if you take the union? How many are in there? That's just 42 plus 21. So that was really pretty easy.
Okay. That's another one.
Now it gets a little complicated in part B, because in part B it says this time the two sets do intersect, and there's 14 in the intersection. So here I'm going to draw that part over. So now you've got D and you've got F, and we just found out this. 14 is in the overlap part. Now you have to go back and say, wait, if there's 14 in there and D has 42, then what's the rest of D? 28, because those two have to add up to 42. See how we had to figure out the 28?
Yeah.
And then it says F has 21. Well, there's already 14, so do you see where I get the rest? So now that you know your numbers in the right place, now what's the number of elements in D union F? And now you add up those three numbers, 28 plus 14 plus 7, and that's 49. And so you can see the answers do turn out totally differently depending upon how the two sets overlapped or didn't overlap. That's so. So Susan, if there's a question that sets up for that different scenario, this is the one that really sets that up. And you didn't have to imagine it. I just plain laid it out for you in the two parts of the problem.
I think I have math dyslexia,
I don't think so.
because this problem, I actually did do the union, or they intersected. I just put 0 there rather than separated them.
Well, you can do that too. That's fine. You still would have gotten the right numbers, right? So did you get the right answer on part A, Susan?
Yeah, I still got the same answer. I mean, visually it looks different.
Yep, but you still did it correctly. I could have drawn it that way too. I thought it'd be better to show you that they were separate, but what you did is fine. So we're just about at 50 minutes. We could still go with one more question, guys. If you or more, I can go longer if you'd like. Just a reminder, we will start off with a chance to ask questions at the beginning of our class on Wednesday. Okay, I hope I didn't miss any text messages or other questions. I don't think I did. Go ahead. Somebody's got their mic on. Go ahead. Let me hear.
I just coughed, that's all.
Oh, okay. Well, good health to you, Marco.
Thank you.
All right, then I'm not hearing any. You can contact me anytime you want to, guys. I always kind of keep an eye on electronic communication. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Those are good questions. They show that you guys are digging in quite a bit, and you have some pretty good insights. You can't even ask good questions if you don't know what's going on, so I'm pretty encouraged. Okay, well, God bless you, and have a good couple days. I'll see you on Wednesday.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Night.
And